And we are back.
You're back, bumble bitches.
Today we will be doing a discussion about division of labor. We do not have anything planned out on the discussion. I have things that I want to discuss, but we've not talked about it.
I'm here for the ride.
Okay. I'm going to hit you with a scenario.
Okay.
I want you to see what you think about it.
Scenario.
Yes, scenario. Before we do that,
yes,
we are recording live for Patreon. So if you are not a member of our Patreon and would like to watch live, you would get to see the 3 previous takes of us trying to intro this.
And me being spicy.
And then you'd be able to interact with the chat and you'd be able to see us. And
we can talk with you. And
yes, which we'll be doing after the episode today.
Yes. A whole lot of uncut. Yeah, it'll be uncut.
Yeah.
Unfiltered.
For them it is.
For them, yeah.
For you guys, no.
If you want to see it though.
Right.
That's where you got to be.
So let's say the dishes are your responsibility.
Okay.
Right?
I mean, that's easy. They are. So let's go. I'm running with
And we both work a full-time job.
Makes sense.
We get home roughly the same time, between 5:30 and 6. I get home a little bit after you, and I walk in and I go to grab a drink and I'm getting ready to get in the shower and I see the dishes in the sink and I go, hey, the dishes need to be done. And I go get in the shower.
Okay.
And I come out and you're on the couch and you're scrolling on your phone and I go, what do you think? The dishes are going to fucking do themselves? What do you think the real problem is there?
Do you have a bad day today, babe?
Do you think it's the dishes?
No.
Okay.
Like, what is that? Why are you yelling at me?
So the amount of emails that we get that have questions about division of labor, I'm willing to bet 85 to 90% of it that there's a deeper issue going on.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
In our relationship, we have predetermined expectations from each other and we never shit on each other for not doing what's expected to be done. Mm-hmm. If the dishes are getting piled up and I notice they're getting piled up and you haven't done it, I'm just going to do the dishes. We can argue about the fact that I did the dishes afterwards. If the laundry needs to get done and I notice it and I see that you're doing other things, I'm going to do the fucking laundry. Because if my shit's done and I've got nothing else going on and you're busy doing other shit, it's taking away from our evening. I would rather spend time on the couch watching television, holding your foot, playing on our phones, playing chess, talking shit, watching overlanding videos, whatever we're doing, than sit there by myself and do absolutely nothing. That scenario that I laid out, people get into arguments over things not getting done because they feel burnt out. Mm-hmm. They feel unseen. They're not getting self-care. They feel overwhelmed and drowning because there's always something to do. And the other person probably has a little bit better time management or less chores to do and is too fucking enmeshed with himself or blind, whatever. I don't think it's blindness. I don't believe it's blindness.
Okay.
I think if that's your job, I don't have to worry about your job.
Unless you ask for help.
Right.
I mean, yeah, that's a really good way to put it because my car needed an oil change. And I was like, hey, babe, my car needs an oil change. And you don't tell me I need you to take it to the dealership. I have a lot going on this week. And be like, all right, I'm gonna ride this until it dies.
Right. I told him it's his responsibility. He's aware of it. If my job was the dishes and they weren't getting done and you were like, do the dishes. And I was like, oh, my bad. And then I'm scrolling on my phone for a little while and you hit me with the same way that I laid that out.
Yeah.
And then what if I'm just not as concerned about the dishes as you are? What if to me, them being there for the next hour and a half to 2 hours when I get to it is not that big of a deal?
Right.
Now, what if you're getting ready to cook dinner or you're wanting to make food and your favorite pot and spatula is in the sink and I was unaware of that? Mm. Is it that I'm not doing the dishes in a timely fashion, or is it that you want your pot and pan or your spatula or whatever the case may be and it's in the sink and that's my responsibility so you expect me to do it? I'm
going to take it further than that, right? Okay. I'm going to peel that back even more. Are you just inconvenienced right now?
Could be.
And you want to blame your partner for it?
Could be. I think that there's a whole lot of bigger issues there. If I want to wear my favorite underwear and they're in the basket, I'm not coming out there and be like, can you do laundry? I'm fucking not. I'm going to grab the basket, throw it in the wash and go. It's going to take me 15 seconds. And in the scenario of the dishes, if I wanted to use my favorite spoon and bowl and they were full of dish soap and last night's leftovers, I'm going to fucking wash the bowl and make whatever it is that I'm trying to make and do my thing. Now, the dishes being your responsibility, if that was what I wanted and I needed that specific thing, I'm only washing that thing.
Right.
Now, does that make me a piece of shit person because I didn't do everything that you had asked? Or does it mean that I'm expecting you to do your duties because you agreed that dishes were your responsibility, just like I agreed that, the vehicles and outside hot shit is mine?
Right.
That was a question.
Oh, you're asking me a question?
Yeah, you were distracted by the dog.
Okay, repeat the tail end of that.
I don't remember what I said.
Well, you were hitting me with a lot of information.
I was doing the you thing and was just talking and waiting to see how it ended up.
So I don't think it's irrational.
Okay.
If it's my job to do it, and you're like, hey, babe, can you get this done? I'm going to get it done. If you want one thing out of the sink, you're going to wash that one thing. If you asked me to wash that one thing, I would do it.
Now, am I an asshole for leaving the rest of the shit in the sink, though?
No.
Okay. I believe, again, go ahead.
I want to touch on that. I don't believe you're an asshole for leaving the rest of the dishes in the sink because that is my job to do them.
Right.
Now, if we have the understanding that when you see the dishes, do the dishes, and you only wash one dish, I'm going to have a conversation of, hey, why didn't you do the rest of them?
Right.
Were you in a rush? Were you in the middle of something? You were trying to get back to the TV real quick because you're waiting for the game, or I don't know what people watch TV for anymore. It's all propaganda to me now. Or sex.
That's why I watch YouTube.
Right?
I want to point out the fact that you and I are very different.
Yes, we are.
I'm realizing how easygoing I am as a person because of us.
Okay.
Because you are a very anxious individual by nature, and I'm not. Like, it takes a lot for me to get into a position of panic. And it could be life experience because I have a decade on you.
Yeah, I'm also very stressed out right now.
Well, I mean, just in general. Like,
in general? I'm like a chihuahua.
Across the board, I'm just not like that.
Yeah.
And it's because I've lived through a whole lot of really stressful, shitty situations, and I'm okay. So none of it's that big of a deal. And even in the event, and this is going to sound gross, and I apologize, even in the event that all of our laundry was dirty, and I had a day yesterday where I didn't do anything, and I took my morning shower, and I didn't have clean underwear, I would just put my other underwear back on and just go about my day. Yeah. Nobody's getting close enough to my crotch but you, and if you did, and you're like, what the fuck? I'd be like, laundry was dirty. I don't know what to tell you. I don't care.
So do you want to know, like, I guess I'm going to be grosser then. I wouldn't care either. I would go ham. I mean, unless it's like really, really foul down there.
But it's one of those things like, how big of a deal is this? This falls onto the laundry on the floor thing.
I'm here for your man musk. So.
If either one of us had to pick up dirty laundry and put it in a laundry basket every single day to do the laundry, it's not a big fucking deal. It takes you a half a second. And if I'm getting ready for bed and I'm throwing my t-shirt across the room and I miss the basket, I'm going to bed.
Right.
I'm not going to walk across our bedroom to fucking put that in the basket when you're in bed waiting on me. Fuck that. I got a hot woman in my bed. I'm not fucking doing that.
I do wait on you too. I'm laying there all uncomfortable because I'm only comfortable when you're in there. Yeah.
So that whole situation matters, right? We have this whole, how important are these things to each other? And if you're somebody who has the need to make sure that there is never a dirty dish in the sink because you have a fear of bugs, then you should be the one that handles the dishes. Or you should have a set expectation of, as soon as you're done, rinse that shit off and make sure there's no food in the sink.
Right.
I will then wash it and put it in the dishwasher to sterilize it, and I'll put it away. But don't leave food on your plate. Those kind of things are normal expectation shit. What I was going to say was I was going to reiterate the fact that I truly believe that the division of labor arguments are not so much about things not getting done, it's deeper issues. And I need to preface this entire episode with that because a lot of that comes from somebody not having any free time.
Being burnt out.
Being burnt out. Not having self-care time. Feeling overwhelmed. Feeling like they're a maid. Same scenario, right? That whole thing plays out. Let's say that there's plenty of date nights. Love languages are being met to 100%. All of it, right? Like the relationship is flawless. And there's an issue with the dishes and you're like, hey, the dishes need to get done. You'd be like, cool, I'll go take care of it. And you're going to do it. And there's never going to be anything said about it. Now, if the intimacy's fucked up, there's no sexy time, date nights don't happen, love languages aren't being met, those dishes in the sink are just one more fucking thing that your partner's not doing.
That's making you unhappy.
Right. To meet your needs in a relationship. So when you have those conversations about the division of labor, if it's not the initial conversation when you're courting or starting your relationship, you need to look inward and figure out what's actually going on to have the conversation of what you need to fix whatever it is that's making you upset. Now that that's been stated, I think we should have a real discussion of division of labor and what it should look like for people who work, both full-time jobs, full-time jobs with kids, full-time job for one person, and then stay at home and see how all of that works and just free flow conversation.
Okay.
And we can use the chat to give us questions to answer as we're going. So Rose said,
our food is on the way.
That's not what she said. She said, dishes are my responsibility. Dishes are my responsibility, but they don't always get done every day. Sometimes I just can't. Sometimes I just can't move very well, disabilities. I get very critical of myself for it, but hubby never makes me feel bad for it. That's our life.
I mean, that is our life, yes. Just to hopefully make you feel better, I don't have any disabilities, and sometimes I'll get the dishes done in the morning.
Who gives a shit?
Right. I will let my dishes sit overnight in the sink. I mean, I will clean the food out. I'll hit them with the soap. Fill up bowls with water. And I will see you at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Because I am too exhausted right now.
I don't give a shit if it gets done at 6 a.m. It can wait until 6 p.m. the next night.
Yeah.
If you're getting ready to make dinner and you're going to need what's in the sink, you're going to have to do the dishes. So it's not going to go more than 2 or 3 days. And that's like if we DoorDash. I don't give a shit. It doesn't affect my life at all because I don't cook.
Right.
You do. So the dishes being in the sink are not going to affect me at all. And if you're like, I didn't do the dishes, I'm not cooking dinner tonight, we're DoorDash, I'm getting Taco Bell or Checkers, fucking go me. Yeah. I'm not mad by that.
Right.
And in the event that the laundry's fucked up and I want to wear my favorite shirt, again, I'm just going to throw the shit in the wash and listen for the thing to ding. Like, those are really easy things. Now, obviously, there are other things that matter. Kids, homework, the hot water heater went out. That's been something we've been dealing with for the last 3 fucking days.
I feel like it's been like the last week.
Well, it started with the well.
Oh, yeah, that's right, with the stinky water.
Because I broke the fucking spigot on the outside of the house. Yeah. I did that. Trying to make sure that you had a water hose that worked to water your plants.
Yeah.
That was Sunday.
Last Sunday.
It was. Oh, it was 2 weeks ago. You're right. Yeah. It was 2 weeks. So for the last 2 weeks, we've been dealing with water bullshit.
Yeah.
That's my shit. So when I got up at 6 o'clock this morning, you're like, the hot water's not working. I had to fucking figure out what was going on. That's not a you problem.
Right.
But that problem is the kids need to take a shower. It's not fair to them to take a cold shower, although we have a point of access water heater in our shower because it takes so long for the water to get across.
Yeah.
That he was able to take a warm shower this morning anyways.
Our daughter didn't.
She didn't because, yeah.
We were up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And she also has her brace on, so it's a process of getting her out of that to clean her arm and shower and whatnot.
Yeah.
But she was a trooper. She was crying. She was like, I hate this. It's so cold. I don't want to. I was like, but you got to, and when you're nailing it.
She just got her with put a washcloth in the microwave for a few seconds to warm it up and Navy bath her. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
You don't think about that at 6 o'clock in the morning. But
no, I wasn't going to Navy bath her. She was stinky.
Yeah.
Yeah. She needed a good shower.
The point of that, though, is that there are times where it does matter that things get accomplished right now. The reality is almost always it can wait. When you look at the urgency of life, what really is urgent? If you have a doctor's appointment, that's pretty important because you're on the doctor's schedule.
Right.
And if you're late or you don't show up, maybe he can't get you in. Realistically, you're going to be late and you'll be perfectly fine because you never get in on your schedule unless you show up right at 9 a.m. or whatever they open. And even then, you're probably going to wait a little while because of the way doctor's office works. But that's you being on somebody else's time. Your home life, you got to pick your kids up from school at a specific time. Window, right. You have a window. Because if school gets out at 2:30, they've got to come out there. There's the parent pickup line. Like, you realistically have a window. So to think that everything has to be done right fucking now and everything is super important, and oh my God, what's going to happen if I'm 3 minutes late? The world's not going to fucking end. You're going to be 3 minutes late. So knowing that like the division of labor is such a stressful thing for people, I don't understand it. And we talked about this a little bit this morning. None of that really matters to me. And maybe that's a me thing because I honestly just don't give a shit. I don't. Like, we have running water. It's clean. It may not be warm. And I will fucking throw a wet towel and just scrub the boys with a warm, wet microwave towel. And then I'll shower tomorrow. Like, so what? I did get the water heater fixed, though, today. So
it was quick.
All right, let's see. Brooke said, when I asked, he would flip out saying, I didn't do this or that. Like, okay, but I'm trying to talk about a problem with you as well. Okay.
I don't understand. Oh, okay.
I missed a chat. It says, I did the dishes and asked my ex to clean off his plate. He never would, but complained I wouldn't do them. But I was working 2 jobs to his 1, plus paying for things for his business. Okay. So there's the issue. The issue is not that he didn't do what you asked. It's that you were working 2 jobs and paying for everything and you felt overwhelmed. You felt
taken advantage of?
Taken advantage of. And
I
then,
would.
And then when you did ask him to do something, he didn't meet the fucking request that you made.
Not even that. He became combative.
Yeah. Then she wrote, when I asked, he would flip out saying, I didn't do this or that. Like, okay, but I'm trying to talk about a problem with you as well. That's the tit for tat shit.
Yeah.
Well, I need you to clean your plate. Well, you didn't do the laundry. That's not what we're talking about right now. I'll get on the laundry. We're talking about the dishes right now. I have no problem saying that. If we're having a discussion and one of us does that to each other, there's nothing wrong with going, wait a minute, that's not what we're discussing.
Right.
If you feel like I need to do the laundry more often, just say that. I'll do the laundry more often, but right now we're talking about the dishes.
Why were you waiting until this moment to tell me?
That. I think that comes down to an anger or frustration thing. Remember what we were talking about before about how anger makes you go towards things? I think that people hold into shit and just go, okay, it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal, and then they get mad and it's a big fucking deal. And they feel the need to charge towards it and get it out, right? I don't think that that's the answer for anything. I think that when you look at diplomatic situations, the best thing to do is to validate first. So what you're saying is you have you're tired of me putting the dishes in the sink and not rinsing them off. I realize now that it's a fucking problem for you because it's probably harder to get the shit off there. I get it. Food stinks. I don't want to do dishes like that. My bad. Moving forward, I'll make sure that I at least spray the shit off or throw some soap on it. Right? And then that's done. You can say, yeah, exactly. Thank you. And then be like, hey, while we're at it, can you make sure that my underwear are clean every day? Right? Like, it doesn't have to be an argument. It doesn't have to be a tit for tat. You just validate, make sure that they understand each other, and then move on. But people like to argue and fight instead of having a conversation because nobody likes to feel like they've disappointed their person.
Right.
So in the situation where she's like, can you rinse off your plate? And he didn't do it because maybe he forgot or he was playing on his phone or scrolling TikTok and was brainlessly throwing something in there. Maybe that's how he lives his life. And not thinking about it in the moment, it's not his problem because he doesn't have to wash the dish. She does. So now it needs to be like, hey, you're making this a lot harder on me than it would otherwise be. If you just soap the dish down, I can do the dishes a whole lot faster. It makes my life easier. My bad. But again, people don't want to feel like they fucking did somebody dirty. And knowing that that's something they need, he's feeling guilty. All right. K Dizzle, my shizzle said, when you have 2 people giving 100%, I think the anger and frustration with division of labor goes away. I stay at home, but my husband helps if he sees I'm overwhelmed, just as I do with him.
No, I haven't told my husband anything from the women's group chat this morning.
You don't tell me anything from the women's group chat anyways. It's a private group.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with me unless somebody specifically tells you to tell me.
Yeah, right.
That's not a thing. We don't talk. We don't do that. If you guys are in either of the groups, the men group or the women's group, that shit's confidential.
Yeah.
Scrolling down because we got out. Okay. Amanda Ford said, yes, I was working 2 jobs and cooking. My ex would let dishes pile up. We got invaded by ants bad and mice. I spent days cleaning it up. Our agreement was one cooks and the other cleans. So that's a great compromise if 2 people are working. Okay, so that's what I said we were going to do. So for 2 people that work full-time jobs, let's start with a difficult one. Let's say that one person works 2 jobs and one works 1. Because in some households, that's necessary. And let's say the one, we'll make it really hard, the one that doesn't work the second job is the main parent. Pick the kids up from school or daycare or whatever, and then come home and has to take care of the kid, do the laundry, dishes, and all that shit.
Right.
What does the division of labor look like to Peaches in a fair scenario?
Are the other 2 jobs 2 full-time jobs?
We'll assume that it is. We'll say the dude leaves in the morning at 8 o'clock and doesn't get home until between 8 and 10 p.m. The other parent could be male or female, doesn't really matter.
Well, I have a lot of questions. Like, what does the schedule look like? Is he working 4 days and has 3 days off? Is she working 6 days a week?
If one parent is working from 8 to 8,
right,
call that 2 full-time jobs because technically from Monday to Friday that would be logistically 2 full-time jobs. And they leave at 8 o'clock in the morning and get home at 9 o'clock at night.
Right, so does he have weekends off? Like they both have weekends off?
Sure.
I think that she would, like, the woman would definitely have to handle more in the household, but he would have to pick up slack somewhere.
Okay. So how does the division of labor break down?
I believe that a household is a woman's duty. So if a woman is working, I mean, that sucks. When I worked a full-time job, I mean, we're entrepreneurs now, so our job never stops. But when I was a body piercer and I was working 10, 12-hour days, the household was still my duty. I didn't ask you for help on anything, not even laundry. I hate it when you touch laundry. So my standard for myself is not a standard for everybody. I understand that. So the household duties, I believe, would belong to the woman, and then whatever she needed help on, you need to ask your man for help. You're helping by working a full-time job. He needs to help in the house.
So my situation with this is if you were a single mom working a regular full-time job, the house would be entirely your responsibility.
Right.
Now, yes, there will be extra laundry and there might be extra food that has to be made, assuming that it's the man that's working the double jobs, because I think it would be the man that needs to do that. The division of labor would look like she needs to take care of everything while he's working the double jobs, and things that a man needs to do: pull things out of the attic, trim the trees, fix the cars, fix a shelf, replace all the light bulbs, whatever.
Right.
That's the honey-do list that goes on the fridge that can be either knocked out a little bit at night when work is done, or a little bit in the morning before you go in, or on the weekend when you have the time off to get it done. A woman that does that has to take care of the house and do her own laundry and make sure the kids are fed and all of that shit, that doesn't have a man, still has to live that life. If he is doing the double job, he's not home enough to be making messes. He's probably coming home, jumping in the shower, throwing the clothes in the hamper,
saying hello to the children.
Maybe if they're even awake, right? So that's a really shitty situation. And there are people out there that have to live that life just to make ends meet.
Right.
So in that situation, there needs to be a whole lot of grace on both parts from him and her, because she's doing a whole lot by herself and he's killing himself at work to make ends meet so that you guys can make bills. He needs to be doing the honey-do list that's on the fridge over the weekend. And there should be a honey-do list, and it should be blue jobs. Toilet won't stop running. It's a me problem. Hot water heater, that's a me problem. Sometimes that means I'm going to have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and figure out the hot water heater if I have to leave by 8. Like, that's a lack of sleep that night. That's just the way things are going to have to go.
Bugs in the house is a you problem.
Right. It is. I'm going to have to contact the bug guy. I'll do it while I'm on my lunch break today. We'll figure this out, whatever. That whole situation is a very clear, defined, I'm not here. The house is your domain. You're here a whole lot more than I am. I shouldn't have to come home and clean the living room. You're here all day. Yes, you have a kid, and I understand that's hard, and you had to make dinner, and that sucks. I don't remember what I was saying because the dog just fucking stressed me out.
Remember either.
That division of labor, I guess we can just end that point of the conversation there and move on to the next one.
Okay.
Before we move on to any of them, I'm going to go as far as to say that my answer is not going to change in any of this.
Oh, I agree.
I believe, and this is the conversation that we had in the beginning of our relationship, that the inner domain of the house is yours. Everything outside of it is mine. And if things need to be fixed, that's a me problem.
And if I need help, I need to ask you.
Right.
And vice versa.
And that's the answer to all of it.
That is it, yeah.
And it's not going to change. This is going to sound kind of fucked up, but even if you were the one that was working 2 jobs and I was working one and taking care of the kids, the house is still the woman's domain. That's the way I was raised. That's what I believe. That's what you believe, and that's the way that we would live our lives.
Right, but you wouldn't be working 2 jobs. I mean, I wouldn't be working 2 jobs.
No, you wouldn't. Absolutely not.
Like, if that's what you believed, I would also expect the flip coin of you being the provider and being the one to make the money versus...
I would work 2 jobs so that you didn't have to work at all.
Right.
Right? But that's the difference between us and most people.
Right.
So I think that that's important to recognize.
I take a lot of pride in my duties as a wife and as a mother and the homemaker. Our house is not a disaster. It's messy. It's lived in.
It's lived in. It's not messy. We live in our home.
Right. We have 2 adults, 2 children, a dog, another dog on the way. Crazy.
And a very chaotic life.
Right. And there are times, we had a conversation this morning where you asked me, like, what's going on with you? And I'm like, I feel like I'm drowning. And I just kind of word vomited things. And then we got to the topic of laundry. And you're like, I can do the laundry, babe. And I was like, no, you can't do the laundry. I have to do the laundry. That's a really... Oh, why'd you jump? That's a hard thing for me to do, to swallow my pride and say that I need help with that.
Why?
Because I don't want help. I feel like I should be able to handle all of it. And I know that's unrealistic and it's illogical. And that could be part of my mental illness. That could be whatever triggers from whatever and whatever. It's hard for me to... I can ask for help in any other aspect. I need a jar open. Come do this manly thing for me, babe. I want to watch your biceps as you do it. For me to ask for help with laundry or to unload the dishwasher, it makes me feel weak.
Okay. So let's look at that for a minute.
Okay.
Set down my Checkers fry so that I can actually have
You're
a
getting
conversation.
serious.
If I had to go with our dirty laundry out to a lake with an old school washboard and lie,
Yeah.
right?
And take your
and
shirt
then
off.
beat my clothes against a rock and then hang it to dry, and you asked me to do the laundry, I worked all day.
Yeah.
You didn't. Fuck that. Right? I'm wearing
Right.
dirty clothes. Whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm not doing that. We're not doing laundry every day. For me to go into the bedroom, scoop up all the dirty laundry that we missed throughout the week or day or whatever, and put it into the basket, walk it back across the house, put it in the laundry machine, put some soap in it, press 2 buttons, and then walk back out, grab a soda, and go sit down on the couch.
Wait an hour.
That's really not an inconvenience to me in any way, shape, or form. At all.
I understand. And I hate that I understand because I understand.
And then when I hear the stupid ass fucking jingle that comes from the laundry machine that I absolutely can't fucking stand, I'm going to go put it in the dryer right now. And you know what it's going to do? Take me a whole 30 seconds to go 2 buttons and walk out. And I'll grab a soda, and then I'm going to go sit back down on the couch until I hear it ding. And then when I hear it ding, I'm going to go get it and put it on the bed. Lay everything out so it doesn't get wrinkled, and then before we go to bed, we put the clothes away. Or whenever you walk around. Like, it's going to take me a whole 5 minutes out of my day. If you ask me to load the dishwasher, assuming that we put all of the dishes in the sink and then hose them down, soap or whatever, and all I have to do is put it in the dishwasher, put the pot in, press the button, the dishwasher's doing the work. It's going to take me 2 or 3 minutes.
I hate this conversation.
But that's the reality of it.
I know. And it's true. It's simple. I do it every day. I do dishes multiple times a day.
Right. Which is why I'm saying that there is a bigger issue when people are having problems with division of labor than the actual thing.
Right.
If they are somebody who has to physically hand wash dishes because the dishwasher's fucked up, I can see how that could be a problem. Because that takes time. You got to fucking wash, dry, and put away.
Right.
To rinse it off right after you eat while it's still kind of gooey. Hit the garbage disposal, put it in the dishwasher, throw a pot in it, and press a button. Who gives a fuck? Why is this something that you want to have a fight about?
Oh, I agree 100%.
Back to my fries.
I'm doing the anxiety thing you were talking about earlier. This conversation is making me nauseous.
Why?
Because I don't want you to do those things. Oh my gosh, you're therapizing me.
I am.
Because I want to take care of you. And me not doing your laundry or doing the dishes is not taking care of you. Like, I hate that I just said but I'm emotional, I'm upset, and I hate that I'm doing this right now.
Okay, so let me give you a new perspective. Putting these back down.
Okay.
Which sucks because I really like those fries. You're right. You not doing my laundry and not making my meals and not doing the dishes and not cleaning the house or whatever the case may be, maybe you not taking care of me, right? We're making money. We're helping people on the internet. We're building a life together. We are building brands. We get to travel. We get to do a whole lot of dope shit that most people don't get to do. So these other menial tasks that we can literally pay somebody to do, doesn't matter that you're not serving me in that fashion. Us being able to sit down here and record for 2 hours or 3 hours or do an 8-hour marathon and then be able to play video games for 2 or 3 hours on the weekend and then play D&D with our friends serves me a whole lot more than you doing the dishes or laundry. My cup is not being filled I almost spit out a chunk of French fry. That would have been very gross. My cup is not being filled by you doing laundry. That's something that has to be done so that we can exist. Do I love that you do it for me? Absolutely. You bringing me my plate or handing me my food out of the bag is a way to serve me. That's great. That makes me feel important. It makes me feel loved knowing that I'm getting fed first, or at least getting my food first. We don't eat until we eat together, but all of those other things are chores. Us going to possibly buy you an overland vehicle and building these vehicles out together and driving around fills me up way more than you doing the dishes. It doesn't matter. This is the perspective. I would rather us spend our time doing things that we enjoy and enjoy each other's presence than spend 5 hours a day doing dishes, laundry, cooking, and cleaning. That's 5 hours that we are in a position that we can do other things.
Well, I needed to hear that. Before all of this, I was a housewife. Me taking care of the house is how I served you as a wife. And we are becoming so busy, and I'm becoming so busy that it's not maintainable anymore for me to do it on my own. And I hate that. And I hate that I'm fucking admitting this. I haven't known in my mind, I haven't seen other ways to fulfill you as your wife besides doing what I've done our whole marriage.
Do you think that, speaking on this conversation from this morning, that I'm going to have more fun and more memories of us riding dirt bikes, going to St. Augustine, going to Thailand, and doing all the life shit, playing video games, laying on the couch laughing at fart jokes, or actually farting on each other, or whatever it is that we're doing? Or do you think that I'm going to be more fulfilled by you doing the laundry and the dishes? Because that shit doesn't matter to me.
But I should be able to handle all of it.
Why? You got 24 hours in a day, and you get to determine what you're going to do with those 24 hours. And if we're working, both of us are working 8 to 10 hour days. And when you look at the grand scheme of things, we are, plus the kids and all the shit that we've got going on. I don't want to not spend my time with you because you're doing dishes and cleaning. I would rather spend the time than have to worry about that. And if that means I have to pick up around the house and do some of it, fucking so what? Everything doesn't have to get done right this second. I don't know why we've got this sense of urgency and the need to do everything right fucking now. That's just not a thing for me. It never has been. I'm not going to be late somewhere. But like, I don't know.
No, I've had that under wraps for a while. This last month of our lives has been one of the most stressful months I've ever experienced. And me keeping shit under wraps and remaining cool is not a thing when I'm stressed this way.
Honey Badger said, I hate when my husband has to do my womanly duties. It frustrates me and makes me feel like I'm failing as his wife. He said to me, babe, my brakes are squealing. And I'm like, cool, I'll take care of it. And I don't. And your brakes fail and you end up paralyzed or in an accident where you hit your head or you end up with a new scar or whatever the case may be. That's me failing you. Right? That's what failure looks like. You having to go to drop your car off to the dealership and us getting your brakes fixed like that's not failure. That's your safety.
Right.
All of this other shit is trivial. Now, if we had an agreement where you were going to do the house duties and I was going to do the outside shit, and that was your only responsibility in terms of a job, I can see how that could become a problem. Or if we lived 10 years and you always did that shit, because I mean, that's us. The time that we've been together, you've done all of those things. If you started getting resentful for me towards me, you, because I'm not doing those things, well, we've lived our entire lives and that's been your job. And you've always done it and you've never said shit. So now that you need me to do it, unless you talk to me about it, how the fuck am I supposed to know that you need me to do those things? And then if I am living in a mindless automatic state, how am I supposed to remember those things if you're not kind enough to give me a gentle reminder?
Right.
Everybody on the planet has driven to work and been like, oh, fuck, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Or you come to a stoplight and be like, oh, shit, I'm at a stoplight. Like, I don't remember stopping. I don't remember.
I was in the left lane.
Right.
5 minutes ago. How
did
am
I
I
get
in the
over here?
far right?
Right. You're on autopilot. You're just doing what you always do. So in the event that you were like, hey, I need you to start picking up the dishes, and I throw a bunch of shit in the sink and I fill the sink up, and you're like, hey, remember last week we talked, the dishes are your responsibility. And I'd be like, fuck, I totally forgot. You're right. I'm going to go do the dishes.
Yep.
But if you're like, I fucking told you the dishes are your responsibility, now you just fucking expect me to do it? Well, yeah, actually I do, because that's how we lived for the last 10 years. How about you simply remind me, I did ask you to do the dishes. I noticed they're full right now. If you could take care of those at some point tonight, that would be great. And if it's 30 minutes or an hour and you need to cook and the dishes are full, then the next reminder is, hey, I want to start dinner in the next 30 minutes. Can you do the dishes now? Because I need everything that's in the sink. Well, yeah, I got you. Because your emergency and my emergency are not the same thing.
Right.
Here's another perspective. You and I watch, we have our set streaming services, and every night when we sit down, we hit an order.
Can you mute me so I can grab my food? Thanks.
We hit an order every single time of what we're checking to see what's available to watch. And in the event that I need to do laundry or dishes, and I know that from 7:30 when the kids go to bed until about 9:30 when I know you're going to be sleeping on the couch, that 2 hours is the only time in the day where I get to decompress and fucking spend quality time with you. I'm not doing the dishes during that time frame. I'm going to lay on the couch and do all of those things. And when you go to bed, I will gladly get up and go do the laundry and do the dishes and take care of all that shit with my earphones in, listen to an audiobook. And I have gotten to spend quality time with you while that's happening.
I was leaning forward to get a bigger reach.
Right. So that whole situation matters. If you need me to do something before you're able to decompress and we can't spend time together because you're having anxiety or freaking out or worried about bugs or tired of the dog running out and the fence hasn't been fixed or whatever the case may be, the stress that's there needs to be articulated so that I know where your head is at. Because again, your priority and my priority isn't the same thing. My priority is that quality time.
Right.
I want to spend time with you. I want to exist with you, even if it just means we're laying on the couch being complete fucking bums. The rest of that shit will get done when I get to it. All right. TK Rose said, I'm currently working 2 jobs, in the process of switching jobs, and I found it hard to keep up with the house, things that I have always done. My husband doesn't mind, but I feel the guilt.
I get the guilt.
I don't.
As a woman, it's my duty to keep up the house. Like how you feel you're failing me if a bill goes unpaid and we lose electricity, or you feel like you're failing me if my car isn't up to date on whatever. I feel like I'm failing if the house isn't up to par or up to my standard.
I don't feel like I'm failing in that. If I can't pay the bill, that's different than forgetting to pay the bill.
Okay.
There's a very big distinction there. My responsibility is to make the money and to make sure the bills are able to get paid. I forget to pay shit all the time. Credit cards get taken quite a bit. Jenny, if she's in the chat, can fucking attest to that because we get failure to pay notices constantly. We've gone through 4 debit cards in the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's a great way to let a subscription end, right? Or not renew something. Me not being able to pay a bill or forgetting to pay a bill are 2 very different things. Actually, you know what? Fuck that. Even that, because in the event that the power got shut off, that means that I failed to pay multiple bills. In that situation, I'm failing you. Mm-hmm. If we get a late notice and there's like a $25 charge added on to whatever the fuck we have to pay, that's an oops. Yeah. I'm going to pay this shit. Damn, I forgot to pay the bill. It's not me failing you. That's me forgetting to do something. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's not the same thing. I don't understand that. Now, if, again, on the brakes thing, if you're like, I need my brakes done and your brakes failed because I forgot to fucking do something and you get into an accident, that's me failing you. It's a very different scenario. You not doing the laundry or not doing the dishes or not sweeping the floor is not you failing me. That's us living our life and prioritizing the things that matter. Now, if I need something and where it's bothering me and I bring it up to you, that's where the issue comes in. And my delivery on how I bring it up matters. So let's say the house you know how I am on my feet. I have texture issues with my feet. If I step on sand, I'm freaking the fuck out over it. Mm-hmm. Unless it's on the beach. And even then I don't enjoy it. Right. I don't like sand. if I walked in the house and I took my flip-flops off or my shoes off and I'm walking over to my computer desk and there's sand on the floor, I'm not saying anything. I'm just going to grab the broom and sweep that area up real quick because that's where the sand is. If I walk into the bedroom later and there's sand on the bedroom floor, I'm going to be like, hey, there's sand all over the house. I'm letting you know, like, I'm having texture issues. This is your thing. Do you want me to vacuum or sweep? So that you have an option of going, I'm fucking tired. Just go ahead and hit it.
Right.
Or I got it, babe. Right? I'm not going to go, there's fucking sand in the bedroom. You never clean the fucking house. It's always dirty. Because now I'm throwing nevers and always, and we're creating conflict where there doesn't need to be any. And if that happens, there's a lack of intimacy. We're not getting quality time. Neither one of us are doing self-care. We're both run the fuck down. And that's where the issue is in these conversations. It comes from well, in your case, it obviously comes from a place of feeling like failure. But in mine, my perspective is not that. And I'm willing to bet most men don't view it the same way. Or view it the same way as me and not as you.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
If you're like, I want you to paint the bedroom. Okay, I will. I don't know when, but I will. If you're like, I need you to paint the bedroom by Friday, now you've given me a timeline. That's a very different scenario than going, I want to paint the bedroom. I think that matters too.
I agree. I was just thinking that I'm a very lucky woman to be your wife.
Why is that?
Because I think a lot of men would agree with you. I don't think all men would agree with you. I don't remember how you phrased that, but I've been with really shitty dudes.
I think a lot of that comes down to a lack of intimacy.
Yeah.
Your relationship is fucked up. Because in the beginning, if things didn't get done, you weren't arguing about it. In the beginning, it was cute. Oh, you're so forgetful. He, he.
Not one of my relationships.
People overlook a whole lot of red flags in the beginning.
Right, especially to get self-validation.
Right.
Yeah.
And when everything is good and new and you're in the honeymoon phase and you haven't moved into the roommate phase or the I hate each other phase, you tend to treat your person a whole lot different. There's a whole lot more grace and understanding and leeway. Now, that leeway doesn't need to become permanence. It does just because, you know, if we have the conversation where you're going to do all the inside of the house shit and I start helping out and your life calms back down and I'm still doing the things that I told you I would help you out on and you don't go back to doing the things that you were, we need to have a conversation of a new division of labor. Hey, I noticed that, and this is a totally made up scenario. I noticed that I'm coming home from work at 6 o'clock. The kids are already outside playing and you're just sitting on the back porch staring at your plants until it's time for them to take a shower and go to bed. And then I have to shower them and put them to bed. And you stay outside the entire night. Well, I'm going to have a problem with that. Like you're sitting around doing absolutely nothing and expecting me to take care of our life when you have the free time to aid. And speaking on the kid thing, if you're a parent and you're at home, you need to be parenting. I got to be honest, you know, we have limited, our kids are still in school, right? They're not homeschooled yet. And that's something we are fucking working towards right now. And we've had a lot of conversations about that. They get home at 3:30, 4 o'clock. They got to do their homework. Yep. We got to do dinner. Realistically, we get about an hour and a half of playtime every night.
Yeah. So do you want me to, you want the schedule? I can give you my schedule.
Well, let's just say it's an hour and a half for the sake of conversation. That hour and a half is us spending time with the kids.
Yeah.
I want the kids to enjoy their parents. Now, if we're sitting on the couch ignoring them, we're watching TV that they can't watch, and we're forcing them to play outside so that we can neglect them. It's going to create personality deficiencies. They're not going to understand proper behavior. We're basically letting the internet and random shit raise our children. That's a fucking problem for me. Now, if we have to cook, clean, do dishes, laundry, and all of the shit that needs to be done in the house in terms of breaks and everything else, that time with the kids is going to get shifted. It's going to change. We're going to have to try to then schedule time with the kids to do shit. So there might be nights where you would have to do those things by yourself, or I would have to do them without you. And
yeah,
but that's the division of labor that needs to be spoken on. I really wish Jenny was in the chat because she had a whole lot of things that she wanted to talk about. I'm going to scroll to see if there's, because this conversation did not go at all like I expected it to.
Okay. I mean, it never does.
No, it doesn't. Amanda Ford said, hell no, a lot of men wouldn't agree. Well, I guess we have a different idea of what a man is. Danish said, literal sense. I'm very literal, and questions asked to me, I take very literal. I don't know what that was in regards to. Jenna said, my home meeting, my own standard. means a lot to me. It's like nourishment. If I let it go, I feel like I'm starving or depriving my family in some way. Is that how you feel?
I mean, I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm depriving them of something. Like I'm depriving the family of, I don't know, cleanliness, of sanctuary, of peace, of, I don't know, clutter in the mind is not a good thing. Clutter in the home is not a good thing. And I try my best to stay on top of it. And when I'm not, I feel like, oh gosh, if the house isn't maintained, that means I'm not being maintained. And if the house is a reflection of me and the house is a mess, I'm a fucking mess. And that doesn't feel good.
I'm stuck on the most men wouldn't agree. I disagree with that. I think that there's a difference between a man and a child, or a man and a male, right? And I truly believe that. I think a man who loves his woman doesn't want his woman to suffer and struggle. I'm going to just talk about it. About the phone call this morning. Can I do that?
Phone call
the one that I made this morning on my way to the doctor's.
Oh, yeah. You mean with me?
Yes.
Okay.
This morning before I left the house, we had my buddy Trevor came over and tried to help us fix the water heater. And we were dealing with a bunch of shit. And Ivy and Peaches came home, and Ivy wasn't listening the way that she should. And we were getting ready to move the van back into the driveway. And there was a whole lot of things that were just happening. And that's life. But I'm not in a big hurry. And you were very anxious and like feeling like everything needed to happen right this second. And we started to walk out the door, and you went to get Ivy, and you accidentally hit the e-collar, and that made you feel bad. And
she ran off with my purse.
That was after that. We went back in the house. You went inside, got your purse
that was after,
and your key, so that you can move the van back from driveway 1 or driveway 2 to driveway 1. Mm-hmm. And as we were fucking doing that, she ran towards the garage, and you hit the e-collar.
After I gave her a command.
And she ran back over, almost knocked you down, took your purse with her, wrapped it around her body, spilled your purse contents, and you were ready to have a fucking meltdown. I could feel it. I couldn't even see you because you were walking behind me, and I could feel how like, you were feeling. So I bent down, grabbed all the shit up, got the purse off Ivy. She stopped moving, handed it back to him, was like, babe, this isn't a big deal. We're not in a big fucking hurry. What are you doing down there? Little sausage dog.
Her little toenails sound so much lighter than Ivy's. Yeah.
She's just staring. She's circling for food like a shark.
She's hoping somebody drops something. You want a morsel, you little peasant. Get out of here.
Your
mom buys you that bougie food. Go away.
That's funny. But in all of that, I'm feeling your frustration, stress, and anxiety, and it made me feel stressed and anxious. And I don't feel that way over things. I could have spilt my entire drink, and I'm like, well, that happened. I'm going to just go back inside and get another drink and walk out to the car and leave. Like, I don't give a fuck about a whole lot of things.
That's usually how I am.
Right. Well, this morning you weren't.
Yeah.
So we had our conversation. You pulled into the driveway. I left for the doctor's. We had a quick text message conversation, and then I called you.
I listened to Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Yeah.
Before I went on a walk. Yeah.
Sent you a text message. I was like, you walking Ivy right now? And you said yes. And I was like, okay, I'm going to call. And I called you. And I prefaced the conversation with, I feel like if I sent this in a text message, you would have taken it the wrong way. And I want to make sure that we are having a conversation. You don't feel like you're being attacked. And I don't know how else to say it, so I'm just going to say it. I was like, you are not yourself right now. I don't know why you're overly anxious, why you're so stressed out, what's going on with you, but what do you need to not feel the way that you need? And because of things that are going on in our life, you laid out a couple of things that are making you feel like you don't have any free time. And the consensus is that you need some sort of decompression. And I'm like, well, what do you need for decompression? Because I can help you. Like, I would rather you not feel the way that you're feeling because I want us to have a good life. And if you're feeling the way that you're feeling right now, and I'm not feeling any of that, there's a clear disconnect, but it's my duty to lead you. So if it's my job to lead our house and you are panicking and freaking the fuck out and I'm not, it means that you're not paying attention to me. And that's what I said that on the phone. I was like, it's my duty to be the one to deal with all the stress and shit. So like, you need to give me some of it. Let me deal with some of this shit so that I can be the one that's stressed out so that you don't have to worry about it. And we determined that I'm going to start doing the laundry. Not a big deal. Again, it's a button. I don't give a shit.
Oh, it's so hard for me. I hate it.
But if you didn't have that meltdown this morning and you didn't tell me that you needed that decompression time, how the fuck am I supposed to make sure that you're okay? Because in my world, everything's golden. My back is slowly getting better, even though I picked the trailer up the other night. Like, I got the water heater going. The kids are going to have hot water when they come back. Like, things are great. We can record when we want to. We did a live stream. We're trying to do the couples retreat. We just bought the Bronco. Like, we're looking at Jeeps and Broncos for you. Like, I'm fucking on cloud 9 doing the thing, and you're over here stressed out over a dog not listening and like ready to have meltdowns because your purse fell off your arm. Like, that's not normal peaches. So the division of labor, if this was an argument where you were like, I can't fucking do this anymore, and like you made a big deal out of it, the division of labor is not the problem. It's our schedule being the way our schedule is, and you feeling like you're not doing enough because we're busy as shit lately. I would rather take a weekend and not do anything. Fuck the dishes, fuck the house. We can leave. Don't care. If we had enough money to have somebody live in our house to just keep it clean all the time, I'd pay that shit in a heartbeat. I don't give a fuck. None of that matters to me. The happiness matters. The memories that we get to make together matters. When I'm on my deathbed, I'm not going to be like, oh, she didn't clean the fucking house.
Right.
Like, you remember that one time that we hiked up and saw a fucking view that no one else has seen, or at least hasn't seen recently, or maybe only 10% of the population has seen? Like, that was dope as fuck. Remember that time that we did that thing, even though people could have potentially caught us doing that thing? Remember that time we were near the gun range in Tennessee, and there was the river and the water, and there was a big O? Like, you know what I mean? Like, those are going to be those memories. That's the shit that I want to remember, not the dishes didn't get done. I truly believe that the division of labor arguments come because somebody's not being seen. Intimacy is not being had. Honey Badger said, my husband took on the sweeping and mopping, and every time I see him doing it, I apologize. I hate needing help doing my womanly chores.
Oh, see,
I just don't get it.
I have to, when my husband helps me with something, I feel bad about it and I want to apologize, but instead I thank him because he could be an asshole about all of it.
Yeah, it's your job. Fuck you. If that was
could have told me no.
Right. If that was my answer though, that's your fucking responsibility. I'm not doing that. What does that say about our relationship?
Right.
If you care about someone, you genuinely care about them and they're struggling, you're going to do for them. And that's what it comes down to. This whole thing comes down to the relationship between two people not being right. Do I want to clean? Absolutely not. I would rather get punched in the mouth by me than have to do the dishes more than once a month. Because I fucking hate doing the dishes. But in the event that that's what needed to happen to make your life easier, I love you. I want your life to be easier. I want quality time. And maybe that's selfishness. Maybe I'm willing to do those things because our quality time together means more to me than a little bit of discomfort. Maybe that's why I'm willing to work 2 jobs if that's what it took. Maybe that's why I'm willing to do the things that I do for you because I'm willing to suffer to get the things that I want. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe the people that don't want to do those things just are not okay with suffering. Saw a TikTok yesterday where, and I actually think I sent it to you, where a blue collar guy, he's in his hard hat, and it was like, why do I work in this 100-degree heat? I could never do that. Or, I don't know how you work in 100-degree heat. There's no way I could do that all the time. He opens his truck, opens his cooler, and there's a note in there from his woman. Thank you for working so hard to make sure that we have the life we have. And he wiped his face like with a note, took a deep breath, put his hat back on, and closed the car door and went back to work. There's a difference. That is the difference between a man and a fucking boy to me.
Yep.
You don't get to call yourself a man because you have a dingling.
Right. I agree with that 100%.
Brendan said, bro, the way you can flip her emotions like that from upset to happy, I love that. I have to pretty much corner my fiance to talk about what is stressing her out and upset. That means your relationship's not right.
It also takes a lot for me to be open with my husband. Every time my husband asks me what's wrong, my knee-jerk reaction is to say nothing, I'm fine. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
There's usually a really long pause, and I take a deep breath, and I just unload.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to accept that as an answer.
Right.
There's a difference between I'm processing right now and we'll talk about it later versus you don't worry about it. The fuck I'm not going to worry about it. That's my job. I'm Atlas. Right. Our life is on my fucking shoulders. I am going to worry about it. And we're going to have this conversation and it might suck. And you may get mad at me for prying and pushing, but we're going to talk about this. Because if there's something that I can do to ease your burden, I'm going to. Now, if it was one of those things that I simply can't help you with, the conversation would be very different. I would be like, look, I just can't do that. This is something that you need to figure out. I will help you figure it out. Do you need me to make the phone calls? If there are other things that I can do to make your life easier so that you can handle that one thing, I'll do that. Right? Because that's the thing. If you were like, hey, I'm super behind on my bath line shit. I need help. Okay, cool. Well, we're not going to record. We'll take 2 or 3 days off of the podcast. I'll do some voice of the broken shit that I've neglected. Maybe interact with the men's group, do some things, or go play video games or whatever, and give you all the time that you need to do the bath line shit, because it's not my responsibility. I don't know the sense. I have no fucking idea what's going on there. That's a you thing. But I still have an ability to serve you in those moments to give you the time that you need to do that shit. So maybe that's something that needs to be addressed with people as well.
I agree. Jay
said, amen, our conversation the first time we met. I got to be honest, I don't remember that conversation. I was very overwhelmed when I met you guys, but...
a lot going on that day.
That was the meet and greet.
It was the meet and greet, yep.
Honey Badger said, I appreciate that, Peach. I love being able to change my mindset into a more positive one. We're an hour into this episode, and it did not go at all. So if we have... Let's go right back to the division of labor actual, like, structure. We'll bang out 20 minutes or so of that and then wrap up.
I don't think there's really any more to talk about because we both agreed that our opinion is not going to change.
Right. Okay, well...
It's communication and saying I need help with something and being with somebody who cares about your happiness.
Right. So how do those conversations happen then?
Babe, I'm really stressed out. Can you help me out with the dishes for the next month?
What if the division of labor is split 50-50? What if the agreements were I cook, you do dishes, I sweep, you mop, right? And like everything is split like that and one person starts failing. How do those conversations happen?
I don't think that would work, period. Like you sweep, I mop, we both have to be available at the exact same time. And scheduling conflicts, and I'm mopping at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Well, you know I have to be into work by 2:30. Why are you... You're going to have to mop. Well, I'm not doing that. You're going to have to mop when you get home. Well, you're going to have to sweep again when I get home. Whole new argument. No. I don't think anything is 50-50.
I don't either. And I think that people that are trying to make it 50-50 are delusional. And they have a false expectation of what a relationship looks like.
Right.
The idea of an even distribution of chores doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And I don't think it ever will. I think that there will always be one person that does more. Mm-hmm. And if I'm being 100% honest, when it comes to the chore thing, you do a lot more than I do. I clean my areas. Like there's things that I expect you to not fuck with. I don't expect you to clean the garage, my tools. I definitely don't fuck with my desk. Like I got that. There's shit everywhere. It's organized to my standard in terms of my mental clutter. I know where everything is on my desk. Don't touch any of it. I don't care if it looks like shit. It's mine.
You didn't even know that we didn't have iodized salt in the house.
Right. I didn't know where the salt shakers were.
Right. We didn't own any at that time.
Right. Well, and that explains why I didn't know. Them. Right. But that's a very real thing. But I handle a whole lot of things that you never have to deal with.
Right.
Now, is that 50-50? Me paying the bills I can set that shit on auto pay. I don't have to put any brain power into any of it. All of the money goes in the bank. They take it when they need it, and I don't worry about the shit. Does that mean that I am doing less work than you? Because, I mean, in reality, by definition, yes, I am. But do you feel like the division of labor is uneven because everything is on auto pay?
Are you asking me that question?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Well, some people would say, well, we have a lawn guy. I don't have to mow the grass. They come every week. Do you feel like the division of labor is uneven because...
I'm not calling the lawn guy if he doesn't show up.
Okay.
I'm not going to have to, bro, where are you at? It's been 2 weeks. My lawn looks a mess. Oh, now I have to find a new lawn guy? I'm not doing that. You have to handle all of that if something goes wrong.
Okay, but I don't have to deal with any of that. We have a lawn guy that is on point.
Right.
He shows up, text messages me before he comes to make sure Ivy's inside, not out in the fence, and they do everything and sends me an e-bill.
Yeah.
That I pay him every month. You don't feel like the division of labor is fucked up because you still have to do dishes and clean it and cook groceries and do the shit that you're doing while I've got everything automated so I don't have to worry about it?
Do you know how many people you talk to every day?
No.
To handle our life?
It's a lot.
I'm good.
So it comes...
Just purely based on the human interactions that you have to have, to support our life, I'm good. I was genuinely shocked when you said I feel like you do more chores in the house. I mean, I do more chores in the house. I really thought, because my mind went to my husband handles a lot more than I do. I feel like I have like winter chicken dinner over here. I have to clean a house.
Yeah.
Done. I have to take the kids to doctor's appointments. Easy.
So then this goes to play into strengths because I don't want to do all that shit. And all the stuff that I do, it doesn't feel like I do a lot. It really, even when I have to edit, like when she was gone on vacation and I was in here doing all that, it didn't faze me a bit. There were a couple of times where I was like, I fucking hate this because I don't enjoy the editing process. And I was like, and then I started like, oh, I could take shortcuts. I could just split screen us and just fucking run it, you know, and look for areas where it was like, I need to cut. But it's just not that big of a deal. In Shane Taco said, what if the person providing more is also doing more in the division of labor? How do you bring that up? I.e. more money contribution and more home labor. So that's a great question. If it was my responsibility and I'm doing all the provision, making sure that we are making money and the bills are paid and doing the blue jobs, and you were a stay at home that didn't clean and didn't do anything, how would that conversation get broached? That conversation would happen when I asked you to be a stay at home. Yeah, you're a moocher. Absolutely. That conversation would happen when we agreed on the stay at home wife agreement. Because that conversation happened in the bathtub. I don't want you to go to work anymore. You can take care of the house. Make sure that it's clean. Make sure the kids have what they need. Go grocery shop and do all this shit. I'll make sure that our life is taken care of. This is your domain. It's yours. Do whatever the fuck you want to do with it. Just let me bring the money in and take care of me. I'll take care of you. That's a 50-50 thing. That provision looks like a whole different, like a whole lot of different things. If that situation was laid out and you weren't doing any of that, I would have a huge fucking problem. I would actually make you go back to work. If I was doing everything in the house and providing mostly financially or even all of it financially, and all you did was smoked weed and watched YouTube all day, I would 100% make you go back to work.
I'm sorry. I thought I was in a relationship with a woman, not a dependent.
Right. I didn't sign on to have another kid.
Yeah.
Yep. So how would that look? How would you handle that in a cordial way the first time that it needed to be addressed? Because it would have to be cordial the first time.
I don't know. We would have already had the conversation of this is what needs to happen. So it would be a reminder conversation. It would be a conversation of, hey babe, I've noticed that the household looks like it's been slacked on a little bit. We've had a conversation prior to jumping into this together. And I feel like I'm upholding things on my end, whereas things are being dropped on the other. I did not say you once in that statement.
Now, what happens if that continues?
I'm ending the relationship.
What if it's a marriage?
Has that person always been that way?
Let's say no. Let's say it started off as like a stay-at-home wife or stay-at-home mom, and over time they did less and less, and the man, or it was a stay-at-home dad and the woman, whatever, the worker ended up having to be the one that does most of the division of labor, most of the chores. And it changed. It went from things being done to you notice that person slacking and doing less and less and less.
It would be conversations of where's your mental health at? This isn't the person that I married.
I don't want to live like this.
What's going on with you? Yeah, I'm not going to live like this. I don't want to live like this.
It's not what
I miss you. All of those conversations. And if nothing comes of those conversations, I burn bridges. I am not going to be taken advantage of anymore in my lifetime.
Well, that speaks to boundaries.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that if you have a healthy relationship, it means you have healthy boundaries.
Right.
Those boundaries are known and they're adhered to. So again, that speaks to a fucked up relationship and not a healthy one. What if both people work? We went over a lot of that already. I think that that comes down to just knowing who hates doing what the most and letting people pick their chores.
So if both people work and one person just happens to make more money, but you're working the same hours, that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
you just have a better paying job.
Yeah.
I don't think the other person should take on more physical labor just because you make more money. That doesn't make sense to me. Now, if you're working more hours,
right?
If
you're out of the house more.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
What if it's a physically demanding job? Say somebody's out there in the heat all day long cutting grass, carrying a weed eater or whatever, or digging ditches or welding, and they're in a hot environment for the same 40 hours that you're in an office for 40 hours. and they come home beat to piss and exhausted, falls asleep on the couch after dinner type shit every single night sitting up.
Well, those are also long hour days. Like manual labor like that is not 9 to 5.
Well, even if it is 9 to 5, it doesn't feel 9 to 5 on the body. It's hard. It's fucking hard to be out in the heat like that.
Right.
So if you're in an AC situation and your job is more mental than physical, your mental exhaustion is still very real, but it doesn't feel the same on the body. So how does that look if that's the case? Are you still willing to take the brunt of the chores?
If my partner's doing very physically demanding labor, yeah, I am 100%.
Does that speak to servitude? Like the willingness to serve your man?
Yes. Yeah, I think it does. I've done both. I've had the cushiony air-conditioned job, and I've done the hard labor.
Right.
And I've had the mental exhaustion. I'm so tired of talking to people, but I can still get up and walk around for the next 2 or 3 hours before I pass out.
Yeah.
I've gotten off of work from doing a physically demanding job, sat down on the couch, and I'm not getting back up. Like, I can't feel my feet right now. Yeah.
So in those situations, the person that does the more demanding, physically demanding job should have it easier in the home.
I think so, yeah.
I agree with that because that speaks on serving the person.
Right.
Because in the event that that person was single and didn't have to worry about all the things that you guys are worrying about together, the laundry would only get done when they have the day off. It would be a weekly, one day, like we're going to do laundry Sunday morning kind of thing.
Grocery shopping would be for one.
Right.
Easy meals if that's what they want.
There would probably not be dinners, or they would be getting dinner on the way home and eating gas station food. Like, you know what that feels like to be that fucking exhausted and not want to do some shit. There are days where I'm mentally done and like I have to make a decision. That shit can wait till tomorrow. I don't give a fuck if I got a late notice. It can wait till tomorrow. It's not the end of the world. I'm not fucking calling anybody. I'm going to fucking relax. So Jenna said I would sit down and list off everything that needs to be done. And then I would ask that we discuss the division. I think that needs to be done in the beginning. I honestly believe those conversations should be had before people move in together. And if the man says, I expect a woman to do womanly things in the house. I expect you to do all the pink jobs, cook, clean, dishes, all of it. That's your responsibility. And I'm handle everything else. And she goes, that's not who I am. Don't move in. That relationship needs to end because you're going to have a whole lot of conflict because you have things that you expect your partner to do. If you expected me to keep you safe and pay the bills and do all of those things, and that's what you needed from a man, and we had the discussion, I'm like, I'm not fucking paying your bills. I'm not fucking, if somebody runs up on you, you need to learn to defend yourself. I'm not fucking going to jail for you. Well,
tell me everything I need to know.
That's what a man's supposed to do in my eyes. So I have a set expectation of what I need from a partner because I can do all this other shit on my own. You're here to fill a need in my life and be my life partner. I want to enjoy being around you and enjoy being, a team. We're a twofer now. Like,
right.
Not everybody's meant to be together. I believe that.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Jay said, I burn bridges because I can swim. Doesn't mean there's no longer access, just means no longer easy access. The idea of burning bridges is a problem for me. It takes twice as long to rebuild something that you've burnt to the ground. And sometimes you're going to have to rebuild that. You can put up a closed for construction sign and leave that bridge alone and just distance yourself from people and leave that bridge intact, then fucking blow the world up and then have to worry about eating crow later as you're trying to correct things.
So when did that change for you?
It changed for me when I realized that I can fucking love people from a distance. I still love my biological mother. She'll always be my mother, but she's not going to ever be in my life. But I haven't burned the bridges. I've never told her I hope she's dead or anything like that. And in the event that we can reconcile, that reconciliation will be a whole lot easier than had I been very toxic and vindictive and, Oh,
I didn't mean burning a bridge as being toxic. Is that what you equate that to?
Simply walking away from somebody and wishing them the best, just not the best over here, is very different than calling people names.
Right. I agree with that.
Okay. So my idea, I'm trying to be very careful with my verbiage. My idea of burning the bridge is something that somebody in our life recently has been very much doing.
Gotcha.
And to simply be civil with somebody and keep them at a distance is not burning a bridge. You can be a toxic human waste dump. You're just not going to be that way near me.
Right.
And if you start being that aggressor and you start trying to do those things, that's you burning the bridge.
Okay.
I will never intentionally burn a bridge. I will push people out of my life and let them go live their lives, but I'm not going to do anything vindictive.
Okay.
It's just, I don't think that that's necessary.
When I burn bridges, that's when I've decided you're not welcome back in my life.
Right. Well,
Like I still love you. I love you from a distance. Even if you apologize, I don't want you here.
okay. Well, I don't think that's burning a bridge.
No?
I think that's protecting your peace.
Yeah.
You've shown me who you are as a person. I need you to not be around me right now. Now, if somebody did some foul shit or said some shit to you and like that's been the thing and you've decided you don't want them in their life anymore and you go slash their tires and bust all their windows out or fucking rat them out or do some evil shit, it's a very different scenario. Call them names.
Right.
You know, smack the hand out as they're trying to help you. Like that's burning bridges. I think that there's a difference. Maybe other people don't view it that way. I don't know, but
I appreciate your elaboration.
I think it's easier to just tell people, hey, I hope you have a great life. Just have it somewhere else. Jenna said, you can no longer blame the slacker. That's on you. It's now on you to fix it. If they refuse to budge, you have to be prepared to set the boundary of what you will tolerate moving forward. That idea, she said going forward, the idea of not having somebody in your life respect your boundaries is a fucking problem for me. And boundaries are not set to control people. Boundaries are set to make the expectation known.
Yep.
And boundaries have to have consequences. Otherwise, they're not boundaries. You're telling somebody you don't like something, and if you don't enforce a consequence to what's happening, you become a doormat because they know they can get away with whatever they're doing. And that consequence doesn't have to be hostility. It doesn't have to be ugliness. It could be, you know, you leaving. It could be taking some time apart from each other and being like, hey, I have to determine whether or not I believe you're never going to do this again. Or, you know, it could be a whole lot of things, but there should be consequences for it.
I agree.
Yep. Chris Dennison said, still want to see them eat, just not at my table.
Yep.
Alana said, boundaries are for my peace, not others. That's it. That conversation about the bar thing that we had in the beginning and how much hate that I got over that and told I was controlling because I won't be with a woman who does the bar thing. I have a preference.
That's okay.
It is. You don't have to be here. Now, if while we were dating or even during our marriage, you decided that that was what you wanted to do and knowing that I have an issue with it and it's never been a thing in our lives and you start going to the bar and doing karaoke and drinking and coming home drunk and having girls' nights, you're telling me that that aspect of your life is now more important than our marriage.
You want to hear something wild?
Sure.
If I were to say I'm not going to be with a man who drinks heavily or I'm not going to be with a man who goes to strip clubs all the time, that's acceptable.
Of course it is because it's you making a statement.
Because it's a woman saying it, right? And
Because,
men are pieces of shit.
Yeah, we're demonized.
Yeah.
That's very true. But in a scenario where we were married and I was like, I'm not going to tolerate that. People are like, oh, I can't believe he said he's not going to tolerate his woman. He's going to fucking control her, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not. I'm going to just go.
I'm not going to tolerate you smoking nicotine.
Yeah. Right?
If you started smoking cigarettes out of nowhere, not my husband.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's not something that we signed up for.
Right.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think that in reality, even with the spiritual aspect of what I believe marriage is with my faith now, because I didn't have it before, I'm still going to protect the peace that I have on this planet because I don't get another shot at this. This is my one opportunity to have some semblance of a life. And I want to have a good fucking life. And I want somebody that's going to prioritize me the way that I prioritize them. And if I come third, fourth, fifth, or sixth on your list of what's important, I'm not going to put you at number one. And we're not going to last. It's not going to work.
Yep.
Even on a me aspect, I know it's not going to work. But I also know because of what we do that if we're fourth and fifth on each other's list of priorities, we might as well just be best friends who fuck once in a while.
Right.
Because the other aspects of life are more important. My concern for you this morning wasn't about you not doing laundry or you dropping your purse or getting stressed out because of the dog. My issue this morning is that you're not okay and I fucking can feel it. You're my priority. So what do we have to change in our life to make sure you're okay? I'm willing to do whatever because I'm fucking great. My life, I don't have any kind of like weird things that I'm struggling with right now. There are things that I would like to see change, but we're changing them and it's going to take time. And I get that. It is what it is. So I think that's the difference in all of this. I think that people they make demands instead of requests, and they want somebody to serve them, but they're not willing to serve the other person, or they're not willing to see what's going on in their person's life. And I think that's the bigger issue. I really think the division of labor conversations is more than who's doing what chores.
I agree. I have to leave soon.
Okay, well, we can wrap up the episode and then bullshit with the chat for a few minutes.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this conversation and episode. We will be doing more of these until the end of the year, and then I think we're probably going to switch up the format a little bit. But with that being said, guys, remember you are the author of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.